Good morning. Back to another episode. You'll have to excuse me if I sound a bit froggy. I'm a bit slow because this is properly first thing in the morning. But I think it's the run up to the holiday time. It's kind of now or never in terms of getting some time to do some programming. Alright, so where were we? We'd added the ability to draw a string. So if we go and just run our program, you can see now we can draw our quote unquote button. It does nothing yet, but we can draw it. And if I can grab this and resize the screen, we've set minimum dimensions so that we can kind of reasonably say what our smallest window will look like. And we can stretch it and everything still draws. Sorry. But there's a point here that's not really ideal, which is that I would like to update things as I change the size of the screen so that the text isn't smushing like this. Right? Ideally, I want really this button to be a fixed size and then it to just stay in the middle of the screen as you do this rather than it mushing. I don't think it's terrible, right? Like, this could work, but I think it looks dumb. And I think it'll get dumber, particularly because the goal is to make a little Tetris grid and have your blocks falling. I think those grid cells really want to be square. So we're going to have a lot of logic about drawing squares of fixed size. So my gut feeling, maybe we'll draw this. If you watch this, let me know if the drawings help, because I'm still very new to this, so this may actually be terrible. But let me just drawing thing. Got a nice little drawing pad to make this easier. Well, I do have bad handwriting, so apologies. If we have a screen in Vulcan's coordinates, use green for the coordinates. Really, what Vulcan does is it draws kind of like a cross here. Alright, so that's your origin, that's 0, 0. You come this way, and this point here is at 1, this point here is at -1. And then your vertical coordinates go top to bottom from -1 to 1. And we have no say in this, this is just how the API works. Now, what I think would be nicer would be for our logic to instead say, if this is the same screen, our logic in red, instead say that this is our origin. Right, so we're going to change the direction that Y is increasing. And I want to make this the width and this the height of the screen itself, right? And that way, if I want to draw an actual square that's actually square, like, I don't mean it's got equal sides and kind of like screen space coordinates. I want it to actually look like a square on your screen. Because this is all in like actual pixel values, this can actually have coordinates n by n. And then when we map that across and onto our screen coordinates, what's it going to look like? It's going to look wider. It'll kind of smush like this, right? Or maybe it'll be the other way around. I don't know. It'll not look square in screen coordinates, but it will look it'll look square on your screen, if that makes sense. Now, I'm not entirely sure how we go about doing all of that, but I'm sure we can work it out. So that's our goal for today. Oh, I'm yawning again. Oh, dear. Alright, so with that in mind, go and grab our renderer. The way we're doing our draws is our logic will draw these drawable structs into this global buffer, and then each frame we use that buffer to generate out our graphics primitives, which are then transferred to the graphics card to be drawn. So, is there anything in here I need to change? So all we're changing really is the definition of position. Right, we're going to switch, I select the coordinate system position is in. The rest of this is all the same. So let's change our input values. But that's not too crazy. So drawstring will need some tweaking. Right. Yeah, put it even. Again, it's the inputs that change. So that will no longer be a valid value. And a height and width of 1 is going to become ridiculous, but again, it's the inputs that change. So it isn't actually that's the problem. It'll be, what do we have? Somewhere we have draw frame. Do I not? Is it called render frame? Render frame. Nice. Draw drawables. There we go. So this is confusing me because it used to be called draw frame. I've changed it because I have this drawables idea. I'm going to try and use draw to mean populating drawables and render to mean actually send to the graphics card and turn into pixel values and put on a screen. Yeah, I remember this. This is where we're going to iterate over our drawables and turn them into vertices and indices. Oi. So, what does that mean? It means our drawable position and dimensions probably need switching, don't they? I'll say this now. So drawable dim to screen dim. Does this work? If I make a function that takes in a dimension, returns a dimension. Does it ever fail? I don't think so. So we do something in there, and we're going to want to have a drawable pos to screen pos. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure yet if if these two end up being actually the same. But imagine they do what they should do. Then what do we want to do in here? We're not changing any of these. Vertex buffer. So what is vertex base? Index plus 0, just grabbing the first one of them. There we go. So can I say in here then something like, let me leave alpha where it was. Screen pos. Probably redundant because everything's going to be on the screens. Can I just have a pos is going to be equal to drawable pos to screen pos, or where actually is it drawable? There we go. And dim is equal to drawable dim to screen dim. drawable.dim. Can't just get rid of every drawable dot, but I can get rid of every drawable pos. Oh, how do you do it? Is it that? Query replacing region. I don't want to do it in region. I want to do it in this function. I guess I can do it in a region for safety. So if I do this, I want to do. Sorry, you've not been following. I'm still relatively new to Emacs. Hence the mild struggle. There we go. And I want to take all of the drawable.pos, and I want to replace them with pos, and it will give me a quick highlight of a bunch of them, and I think exclamation marks say do them all. And then, sure, there's a way to say grab the same region, but I don't know what that is off the top of my head. We'll do this. Oof. Did I just delete a load of stuff? I did. Grab all of this, and then I'm going to do drawable.dim. It's going to become dim, like so. Did that do it? Pos X, pos Y. Drawable color, drawable color, drawable color. Then in this one, no, I didn't do it. A. Try again. I need to tell it to actually do it. So, how do I say no to one of them? Right, so in this case, I've grabbed too much. How do I skip a point? There you go. And I can bang through the rest like that. Very nice. Just to check. Oh, I'd go ahead and do that. We haven't broken anything. Didn't miss any renames. Or just foobar something. Okay. Now we have to do a bit of thinking. The easy thing is we need to switch the coordinates of the x-axis. Oh, why is this looking so tricky to work out? Maybe this was a bad one to do first thing in the morning. It doesn't have less maths in it. Okay. So, can we think this through? If I've got some value in this screen coordinates, let's call it x, s, and y, s. It sits somewhere. How do I find its position down here? So, I guess the first thing to do would be to negate y. And that would be as if it went -1 to 1, like that. But add 1 to both things, and then divide by 2, and then it would be like it went... and minus y. Put all my s's in. Minus y plus 1. I think that would essentially give us the same points, but from 0 to 2 each direction. And then we would like to scale that Let's halve everything again to get that down to 1, right? So we can have x screen plus 1 over 4 minus y screen plus 1 over 4. So at that point, it's like they're on a screen that goes from 0 to 1 and 0 to 1. And then we want to scale to our height and width, which we assume we just know. That's a point, actually. I think that currently lives on... Where does that live? Well, that lives on our renderer. We're going to have to make it global. It's not going to be available inside this function otherwise. Oh no, it's not 2, it's 4. Right, it's over 4 like that. And then we'd like to scale it, the height and width. So I think we want to then say that this one is going to be height times x screen plus 1 over 4. And this one is going to be width times minus y plus 1 over 4. That's going the wrong way though, isn't it? That would be to go from Vulkan to ours. I kind of want the other way around, don't I? So how do I take our value and turn it into the Vulkan value? So ours will go from 0 to width, 0 to height. We'll call that x and y. So we can take that to kind of normalize 0 to 1 and 0 to 1 by doing x over... I almost scribbling when I've got an undo button. X over the width, y over the height, to normalize the coordinates. Then what do I want to do then? I want to move the origin into the middle. Something like x over 2w. This goes into the 0.5, 0.5, minus 0.5, minus 0.5. We have x over 2w. Currently can't have a negative value. Now we can. If you were at 0, you go to minus a half. If you were at 1, you'll go to a half. If you were at a quarter, or if you were at a half, you end up at a quarter shifted back. That doesn't sound right, does it? You were at 0.5. Actually, I don't think there's a 2 in there, is there? I'm not scaling anything. Or I'm just sliding everybody across. So you end up with x over the height minus 0.5, y over the height minus 0.5. So we just translate the coordinate system over. Then we want to make it bigger. So to stretch it, if you were at 0.5, you're now at 1. I think we can get to... I just multiply all of these values by 2. We end up with 2x over width minus 1 and 2y over height minus 1. If you were at 0, you end up at minus 1. You were at height and width. The height and width get cancelled, and you end up at 2 minus 1 is 1, so you end up at 1, 1. If you were at half and a half, the height and width cancel. These turn those halves into ones, and you end up at 0, 0. That seems right. And then we need to negate this axis, right? So that we end up at this being 1, 1. So 2x minus 1 over w is our x thing still, because it's not changed. We negate this. So you're going to get 1 minus 2y over the height. If I give you drawable x and y, this should give me screen coordinates, I think. So this should do our pos. So we're in here. Oops, x equals 2 times pos x minus 1 divided by, we've not got the width, do we? I think it's have to go on our global context just to make it obvious that it's oh, VK surface, do you know your width? No. You're going to be a handle, aren't you? Something like that, isn't it? Oh, and I bet you're going to be in a U32. That makes sense for... Okay. That's another one of those things. A choice I made early. I'm putting things that are global for, like, a good reason. Like, things I expect needed in lots of places into this global context. Mostly so as I'm reading the code, I can see that they're global quickly. We currently have nothing about our surface size available globally, though. I do think we checked before, though. And can I do a grep? How do I grep in here? Grep. Run grep like this. I'm not sure what all those mean. Can I do a grep for, I think we have a thing called surface extent. Found, not in main it didn't find nothing. Okay, screw that then. We'll just keep using this for search. I'm pretty sure we have a thing in here called surface extent. It's on our renderer. I think the move is to take that off our renderer. And instead, I think main.odin in here has a global context. And we will do this. To make that available everywhere. Now, I'm pretty sure extent 2D. Yeah, it's going to have U32s for the two values. Which is fine. We are now going to have a bunch of compile errors. Is this up so I can do that? Yeah, boy. So this is complaining because this is the wrong shape. So it's not called W, it's called width. And then I'm going to have to cast that to an F32. And while we're here, we can do the other one. So 1 minus 2 times pos y divided by the height. Hold on. Oops, I'm in the other screen. Cast F32, surface, extent, height. That thing's problem. A comma. There we go. So we'll find out soon enough if that maths is right. We also now need to go and find everywhere that does renderer. Can I say in here? Go and find me all of the renderer dot surface extent. Replace it with GC dot surface extent. Right. Oh no, that's the wrong button, wasn't it? Alright, back to the top. Do that. And I have to click space to say yes, don't I? What is this then? So this is setting it. So that sounds right. That's just passing the value on. Viewport. We just grab it. Just grab it. Expected, I think, because we're messing with our values, but basically we just wanted to see it compile. Nice. Where have I put my function I was looking at? Drawables. Has all this stuff in it. Right. See, that's collapsed basically all of our positions down to the origin because our coordinates are all still in the wrong space. Drawable dim to screen dim should be simpler, I think. So how are we squashing and stretching is the question. If you were something in screen coordinates, sorry, in our coordinates, we expect you to end up smaller in the screen coordinates. So I think we can do something like this. And your height 2 over cast 32 GC surface extent height. Let's hope that was right. If you did have values in here that were 2 and 2, where you filled the screen. Sorry, I've got this backwards again. You have values in here that are height and width. So you fill the screen, we divide by height and width, normalize, we times by 2 because it's not normalized coordinates, it's -1 to 1. The signs shouldn't matter because these are just dimensions. They're not like, I don't know, they're not signed. They don't, explain that. If they're scalars, they're not vectors. So if we do that now, we expect to see everything just kind of drawn as a point, if anything. Yeah, there's one little tiny grey spot. I'm not sure if that'll show up on the video. And the reason for that is that wherever it is we're making our drawables now, need its values are tweaked. Can I go find in here? I need to find where's calling this, don't I? It's called in one place, called in draw menu. Nice. Let's try and just cover the screen. Right, so if we're in here and we're at 0, 0, and your width will be global context surface extent dot. I'm gonna keep doing this in lots of places, aren't I? Where's my dim stuff all lives in here? I think it's probably worth us doing something like surface extent to dim. Making an extent be a Vulkan dot extent 2D, which this doesn't know about yet. import, oh, what's the trick? Is it vendor, Vulkan? And it'll return us a dim, returns dim, where width will be extent cast to a float. And height will be similar. There we go. And instead of doing that in here, we can do extent. So extent to dim. Actually, you can be named more generically, can't you? You're not surface extent, really. You're just any old extent. Or global context dot surface extent. Right, and then similarly in here, extent to dim GC surface extent dot h. So that should draw our triangle on the entire thing, and that would tell us if our scaling is correct, and it didn't. Interesting. Do you know what? I'm just going to copy paste that in here as well, because the grey triangle, sorry, the grey rectangle doesn't tell us if our... Am I? Sorry. The grey rectangle has no sense of like direction about it, so we can't tell if we've done the inverting XY stuff right. We clearly haven't, because that doesn't look right, does it? So draw rect makes a drawable. Ah. No, that should be fine, right? So in here, our drawable is in our own dimensions. So we want to now go back to our renderer. And we would like to see, what's it called? Render. No, wrong name. Oh, we were just there, Matt. Come on. There we go. Render frame. Draw drawables. It's currently just doing this mem copy. Ah, okay. To draw drawables is in here. So can I put something in here to say format, print line, I don't know, drawable, pos dim. So this will just tell us. I actually don't care about most of the stuff on drawable, so let's do drawable.pos, drawable.dim. Like this. So 0, 0 is mapping to 0, 0. Interesting. What have we cocked up? So 0, 0 goes in here. It becomes -1. We're expecting 0, 0 to become -1, -1. 0, 0 is bottom left. So it shouldn't become -1, -1. It should become -1 +1. becoming 0, 0. So if I put in 0, 0, that becomes -2 over okay, because it's not -1, -1. Why am I putting in 0, 0? I print our screen dimensions as well. Oh, yeah, hang on. If I render frame again. Where have I put all my printing? I'm saying here, I would also like global context surface extent. So I'm saying I want to draw a drawable. My screen is 833 by 986. I'm passing in 0, 0, 0, 0, 83, 3986. So it should fill the screen. And the position is mapping to tiny little numbers. Come back into here. See, our dimensions aren't looking right either, are they? Because that should just turn into 2, 2. Give it a drawable with a height and a width. I mean, that's the one that should be easy, right? And yet, it's nowhere close, is it? 833 should just be getting divided by that 833 and doubled. So how can that go so wrong? I don't know. They're taking in the right values, so I've got pos to pos to pos, and dim to dim to dim. Is there anything still referencing drawable.pos in here? Drawable printing, and that's it. And same for dim, just our printing. So we've not missed something we meant to update. Oh, I bet this is really obvious. It's my maths is wrong. This is all I can guess. But I don't see how. Right. So we come into here, we say draw rect. It just adds a drawable with a pos and a dim. In fact, for now, I'm just going to comment these out just to keep it simple as well. So it's just the same thing every time. Yeah. What is happening? I'm saying draw rect. Have I got these the right way around? Position is 0, 0. Dim. My extent to dim. Width and height the right way around. I don't know. Am I going to have to put a breakpoint in and go step through it? Alright, because just looking at this looks fine to me. We're saying draw a rectangle. Ah! Have I accidentally changed my winding? So, because I've flipped the y-axis around. Right, so over here, I've got R dimensions. Goes from 0 to 1, or whatever back they go to height and width. And then we've got the screen's dimensions that go to 1 and to 1 like this. I think I've defined anti-clockwise winding, so I think it looks in this direction to define forward. So if I have points that go like 1 to 2 to 3, that will be drawn because the pieces going this way around indicates this is the front face. Whereas points 4 to 5 to 6, I think that this will not be drawn because it's winding the wrong way, right? But because we're flipping the top and bottom, I think what's happening is I'm taking a triangle that looks like this. It still looks like this in R coordinates, right? Which means it's winding like that. But then I'm flipping the coordinate system to be the other way around. And I think it's turning the winding to look like that. No, that can't be the whole problem though, right? Because we expect 0, 0. Right, we expect for 0, 0 here to land at a point here, right? So we can tell we've gone right when 0, 0 maps to -1, 1. And again, looking in here, I included that +1 -1 in our brackets. I think that's an error. Where actually is it? Just back in our renderer. Draw drawables. These things. I think that's it. I think these are absolute values. I want to go on the end. Like that. So now, that's our screen size. 0, 0 is mapping to -1, 1, as expected. And our dim 833 is still looking wrong, right? 833986 in R coordinates should map to 2, 2. How are we ending up so far off? Drawable dim to screen dim. Our surface extent dot width. I don't think it's an issue that our surface extent gets updated, which is possible, right? Because it is a global. But because we're printing it, so we know at this point it isn't. It's still what we expected it to be. And we know we've got our width and height. What if I just turn these to 1? So we expect this to get us the wrong number. Right, but we expected then to get 1 and 1. because we've got our value here and we've got their value there. I just can't square this. Unless this value's not set at this point. Let's say inside of here, format, print line, drawable, pause to screen. Oops. New autofill? No. I think I might have to set something up to do like buffer fuzzy matched kind of autofilling. Quite often I want to do that. So inside of here, can I get my global context surface extent.width? Let me just get the surface extent like that. Yeah. So it's not like it's getting messed with. Same value here and here. Not like I'm missing something when you do this cast, something goes squirrely. No. That seems like it should be fine. Oh, I've done it in the wrong one, but I assume if I come in here, format, print line, here, GC, surface extent. Yeah, so it's still set in here, so it's not like there's something squirrely happening with our global state. Drawable dim to screen dim. Oh my god, I hate this. I don't know how this is where we're stuck. This seems like it should be a really easy bit. Drawable.dim is 833 and 986. Drawable dim to screen dim. I think we might actually have to drop a breakpoint in, step through it, because I just can't see what's going on. Okay, so one thing to check, if I double this, does this width go from 0.0012 to 0.0024? It does. So we are looking in the right place. We are affecting the numbers we expect. It's something ridiculous, like these needed to be floats. No, because Odin is smarter than that. These values are floats, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah, of course they are, because I'm printing them. Got U32s. Cast them to floats, we're doing 2 divided by. How's it ending out by like over a factor of 1,000? Oh, it's not over a factor of 1,000. Ending out by about a factor of 1,000, right? Our inputs make sense, because I can see them. So 833 Okay, let's go bite the bullet. Let's go run it through a debugger. My God, how do I actually run my debugger? Been using GF2 because that's what I sewed using it. It looked pretty good. It looked like an easier time than just GDBing. So CD into mine slash Flectris. We're going to need to build a debuggable binary. So let's go into our code, CD mine Flectris, and code in build main out debug. So main.bin will look a bit silly, but it does spit all of that out for us. Tell you, sir, to look for main.bin. And can we go ahead and grab, ignore this, Flectris. Main. We've got active file. Oh, it's just showing me what's, yeah. Oh, can I do that? And jump to, oh, I could have done that. Oh, no, I didn't want to do that. I thought it would jump me to it. What am I looking in? I'm in renderer. Something in here, isn't it? Let me go have a look. What actually is it? Renderer, drawables is line 76. Oh yeah, I was already on it. Let's pop a break in here, I guess. And attempt. Trapped illegal instruction. Get rid of that. Prefix at this trap. Hey. Interesting. Well, that didn't work. What was that about? CD to mine. Flectris. And we checked. It does work, didn't we? Dot slash main dot bin. Launches, prints, does everything we thought it would. In Flectris, I want to go main dot slash main dot bin. I set like breakpoint main. So no. Like start, does that load my symbols and then I can put a breakpoint on main? Then run. Oops, I'm in the wrong spot, that's why I can't do it. And that's working, nice. If we now go to files, mine, Flectris, main, renderer, pop, breakpoint in here, continue. Could not find a load of stuff. What a pain. Okay, so we can't even break point and step through it. GNU debug alt link for all of this stuff. Okay. Create instance failed, error layer not present. Oh, is it saying it failed to link because it doesn't have debug versions? So error layer not present. Can I go find create instance failed? Oh, that's annoying. Continue so it crashes. Can we... Oops. Rid of all that. We go find create instance failed. And just disable... What is it? It's one of these things. We just turn that off. And again, build it. Check that it runs and prints a load of stuff. It does. I've still got my breakpoints. I do. Couldn't find all of that stuff, but it now doesn't crash. It spawns a load of threads, which I guess is probably GLFW doing something. Hit breakpoint, draw drawables at blah. Nice. Oops. That has gone slightly fucky. Tell you what I'll do. I'll move that just to another workspace so we don't have to look at it. Right. So, got our drawable. What do we want to know? What's our global context surface extent at this point? Some numbers. So I would like to see drawable.pos and pos drawable.dim and dim. That makes sense. So that one's working as expected. Oh, okay. I step into this one. Dim is 0, 0. Dim is now 520 by 986. Dim is mangled. I learned nothing. Actually, this is probably not the thing we're interested in, is it? Can I mass delete these? Not quickly. So that's not actually what I care about. It's in here. Get next. Step into here. I can't drop a breakpoint because it's thingy. But inside of this, dim and gc.surface extent. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. I'm not multiplying it by the dim values, am I? Oh, no wonder. Okay, yeah, that's 100% it. Can we put this back? I said it was going to be something stupid. I bet if anyone's actually watched it far enough to get here, that they've been pulling their hair out. Oh no. Oh my goodness, where would it be? It's in draw. Is it in our renderer bit? Draw drawables. Inside of you. You need these in there. Okay, so it's still not looking perfect, but at least our dimensions look right. Right, 2 and 2, we fill the screen. Okay. Oh no, I've closed Emacs. Right, Flectris. Right, so we've done that easy bit. You'll notice it's still not drawing anything. One possibility is it's to do with the winding. So, can I temporarily set you to be both? No, that's not the way to do it. Cull mode. Is there a way to say I don't want you to cull anything? Rasterization state, depth clamp enable. You know what I'm saying? If I come in here, is there a thing to be like disable? Rasterizer discard native, disable. Polygon mode, cull mode. None? I forgot I need to now go set this back up. Dot run sh. Okay, so it's not our winding. Probably means it's our drawable. Is mapping to bad vertices now, right? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm just gonna go grab a quick cup of tea. I think we're about to have another block of nitpicky thinking. So, expect the time to jump. Okay, I am back. Let's hope another cup of tea helps avoid more of that. I'm gonna put that steak up to sleepiness. Right. So where are we up to now? We are still very clearly not drawing anything. I've disabled backface culling. So we know it's not an issue with the winding, which probably means it is straight up just an issue with what values we're sending through. Right. So we're now happy with that. I mean, these should have ended up unchanged, right? Pos X, pos Y. Plus dim. Alright, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. It's just to satisfy curiosity. How have I cocked that up? Can I look for the word clockwise? I put this back to how it was. I can't remember how it was. Cull mode is back. So you, sir, are back. Can I just make you clockwise briefly and check that doesn't draw anything? Good. Did it flash something? Am I mad? No, it's just it starting up. So that's interesting. What do we do with this information? I think we disable culling. Take that out of the equation for now. We go back to drawables. I think we need to start investigating our vertex buffer, right? Vertex buffer at this index. So let's try and kind of like think this through. So the vertices say where the corners of our quad need to go, and the indices determine the order that they're associated with triangles. So a winding issue would be in our indices, but there isn't a winding issue because disabling culling hasn't fixed it, which means it must be an issue with our vertices, right? I think so. So can we stay in here? I want to do format print line. Right, let me do for I in naught less than or equal to 3. Format print line I. I'll say vertex buffer. Vertex base index plus I. I'm just going to put dump vertices to draw and put vertices. Base index is vertex base index. Just to check that we are looking at the same thing every time. Go. So what are we seeing? We are seeing it go 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. Base index of 4. So this will be our text, will it? Going up to 3. No wonder we can't see anything. It's off the screen. Oh. Right. So yeah, because we've flipped what we're calling. Yeah, that makes sense. So I think in both cases we had minus x. Sorry, we had what's the right way to say this? We're describing rectangles as being, you know, like a point here and a width and a height, right? But we were doing that in Vulkan screen corners before, which meant we must be subtracting in this direction, right? Whereas now, we'd be adding. So what does that mean then? Is our index 1 and index 3 bits in here? I think possibly just need this. Oh, that's looking more promising. Inside of this, can I go and re-enable these? And do I see start get drawn? Yes, and it's upside down. Nice. Oh. Okay. Why are you upside down? Is that an issue with how I'm doing draw string rather than an issue with our what's it coordinates? Or see the issue with how we're doing our UV mapping. So I look inside a draw string, draw drawables. So that looks like I want it to look. I don't think it's in there. I think it probably is an issue inside draw drawables again. It'd be terrible to just start flipping these numbers around and see if I can get a thing that looks like it works. I have like a gut feeling that might work. It didn't. Did it change anything? I don't think it changed anything. Well, that's why we shouldn't work on gut feelings. Okay. Okay. What do you mean no match for drawn vertices? It's because there's no underscore. There we go. Right. I'm not even sure off the top of my head what I expect to see here. Let's have a stop and a bit of a think. So we're drawing 4 vertices. They are at -1, 1, which is getting texture coordinate 0, 0. Ah, is my texture coordinate just wrong now? Yeah, because 0, 0 is the top left of our thing, but this is the bottom left. So I think actually maybe it's our texture coordinates we're passing through in drawstring that's the problem. So if we go find drawstring, we're in here. Get ASCII font texture data. That gives us a texture data, which is just a base and a dim. Where is that used? Texture data. It's used. Okay, where are you used then? Back in here. So yeah, we're back in drawables, which means probably that we need to go back to drawables. Oops. My goodness. Put that back. Project. Rep. Drawables. We're back in here. Is our texture stuff wrong then? Right, so pos X, pos Y is the bottom left point on our thing we're drawing. This does feel like it's going to get confusing as well. We're referring to our textures by their top left corner just because it makes most sense in the kind of, again, that it has similar screen coordinate directions to Vulkan. So Y is increasing top to bottom. I do think though that means I can come in here and update this like so. Update this. Drawable texture data dim H. And this one, not that. And flip it. Is that the right way to do this? It still means I'm referring to our I put that back to how it was. I think it might be nicer for our textures to be referred to by their bottom left. I'm not sure if what I'm saying is going to make sense without showing. Where's my font live? So, we have this dumb font that I've written just to have a thing that I know everything about. And currently, what we have is every single one of these is 8 pixels by 16 pixels. And I'm referring to them by their top left corner. I wonder if it makes most sense to say, actually, I'm going to refer to them by their bottom left corner. And then it maps very one-to-one to say that the base position of this is mapped to, I guess, what I'm calling the base position of our quad as well. Which means that instead of fixing it inside of this, I think I need to go and fix it inside of get texture data. Wherever I've done that. Drawable. Okay, hang on. Oh, I was just looking at this. It's somewhere near here, isn't it? No, not there. Draw drawables. In drawable.odin. Get ASCII font texture data. There. So, the base being that still makes sense. And I think if I just switch you to this, that also won't work. Right, yeah. So we bump these like this. Oh my god. Go to references. It says that we're in here now. Means we get the drawable, so we're now back to how do we get our drawable. So I'm going to go back to renderer. I'm back in drawables. It's this texture data stuff. So that one's fine. And we now want to make that a minus. And that a minus. And it flipped it. And I think that is easier to reason about. It's slightly confusing. This bit's slightly confusing, but it's nicely wrapped up. I think the thing that's nice is that if this is our, I'm calling it base position, right? It's our 0, 0. Then drawable dot texture data is also using the base position of the texture. I think that makes good sense. Now, the big advantage to doing that is really that I should now be able to draw a fixed sized string, right? Can I regex for the word start? So we're in here. Currently, we're making everything smushed to be the size of the screen, which we'll want to do in places, right? I think we're going to have stuff like containers for items that we want to resize to match the screen, or to stay like the same proportion of the screen, or something like that. But the thing I've now gained the ability to do easily is to say, I want that 320, and I want that to be 50. And it should stay the same size as I drag this. Nice. Which is something we couldn't do before. So that feels like a win. I will say I made a meal of that. But I think that's into a nice place now. other thing to say is our X and Y should now be, you know, also fixable. So I should be able to say I want to pin this in this place. And you can see there as I drag the screen around, or if I... Oh, hang on. You put my mouse on the wrong place and losing the thing. Like, I should now be able to move stuff around and... Oh, there we go. See, it stays as best it can in the same place. I wonder if... Is that like an optical illusion, or is there a bit of stutter as it changes? There might be, because we are copying data around. I think there's a load of like memory allocating happening when we change the screen size, but small deal currently. Nice. I think that's a good place for us to do a commit and call it good. Let's go ahead and check that first. If I get rid of that, I compile again. Oh. Good thing we checked. Have I changed the direction of our winding? And if I have, do we care? We have. Okay, do we care? So yeah, that's what I was saying before, is because we're messing around with our coordinates and we're kind of flipping, I guess like the handedness of our axes, right, is how I would normally say it. I don't know how to describe it. You kind of talk, at least in physics world, I did a physics degree. People talk about like having right-handed axes. If you imagine you put your thumb, do a thumbs up, and like you're saying well done to someone, the direction that your fingers are curling, if that's the direction from this axis to that axis, we call it right-handed. And in this case, if you imagine imagine this piece of paper, you plonk your fist down on it, then you put your thumb up. In this case, that direction would go the long way around here, which means it's not right-handed. If you did it with your left hand, you'd see it was a left-handed set of axes. So we are kind of switching that. Cardinality is not the word. I forget what the mathsy, physicsy word for that is. But we're flipping the handedness of our axes, so it's not surprising that without changing other logic, we've switched the winding direction. It's an interesting question. Do we even need backface culling? Because it's all 2D. So backface culling is an optimization to support the fact I could draw a cube, and at any angle you're looking at the cube, if the sides are filled in, you won't be able to see triangles on the back, right, of any given face. So if I've got the front face of that cube, it's either pointing toward me and I can see the texture on the front, or I can turn it around, I should see the texture on the back. But if it's an enclosed box, then there's no angle where I should see that texture on the back. So it makes more sense to say it just doesn't exist. And so you have culling to say if when I do my projection onto the screen of this geometry, if it's winding the wrong way, which means that the front face is pointing away from me, I can just ignore it. We're not doing anything like that though, right? Because we're only in 2D. I think that might be. Let's just take that out. Is that true though? I guess one thing that is nice is this forces us to keep all of our winding the same. And while that's not particularly useful for the optimization, it does feel like it'll simplify potentially using other tools. As far as I know, there isn't a accepted standard for whether you should do clockwise or counterclockwise. So I think we just flip that to clockwise. And we should still be good. Right. Okay, I think let's do a bit of tidying. Let's get that committed. And then it's nearly 8, so I think the fam will be up soon. I guess the first thing to go and find is all of our print lines. Which I have got in Nya. Let's bin that. Do our tidying. There we go. Very nice, very nice. And then let me kill that one, pull that one up. I might just go through this diff a little more carefully than usual because it feels like we changed a bunch of stuff. So none of that's unexpected, right? That as well. Draw menu, we're going to have to like actually write properly in a bit. This is updating our what we're calling our base position in the texture sheet. We made surface extent global. That, I guess, is just reformatted. Surface extent is removed off of renderer, which makes sense. Drawable dim to screen dim. We know we did that on purpose. That looks like it's just formatting. That looks like it's just formatting. That switching to use the global. That switching to use the global. 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 That we've done on purpose because our winding direction's changed. That switched to use a global. And that's all our changes. Beautiful. So what do we do? Refactor. I guess drawable to vertex to graphics. Primitives. To change our coordinates. Makes it easy to draw fixed size squares. Cool. Let's push that up. And I'll go have a quick look at our README, because I'm not sure if we've got to-dos listed. Sometimes I'm good about that, and sometimes I'm not. The short-term plan, should drawables be in units of actual pixels instead of that? Should we invert the y-axis? So yeah, I decided yes to all of this. Right, so that means I think tangent is over. Next video, we're going to return to this idea that we're going to draw a button with, draw a menu with a button, responds to a click, and then we're going to respond to a button press to take you back to the main menu. So, that's something to look forward to. I will catch you on the next one.